Choice appears only after the map has already narrowed it. What looks like decision, strategy, or ambition often arrives late when distance has hardened into delay and terrain has already selected the range of outcomes. This essay traces a structure that did not argue, persuade, or intend. It pressed. By the end, the Ottoman Empire will no longer appear as a power that failed to adapt, but as a civilization enclosed by geography long before adaptation was imaginable. The stakes are not reputational or moral. They are repetitive. This structure mattered because it did not belong to a single century, and because it kept working even when recognized. The land the Ottomans inherited was not abstract space. It was a hinge. Anatolia sits between seas, between continents, between climates. Mountains fracture movement east to west. Plateaus stretch supply lines north to south. The Bosporus narrows traffic into a single throat. The Aegean scatters it again into islands and shallow passages. To the south, the Levant opens into deserts where distance is measured in water. To the east, highlands break caravans into stages. To the north, the Black Sea connects ports, but isolates interiors. This terrain existed before the state, before its armies, before its archives. It did not wait. Climate reinforced the shape. Winters slowed passes, summers dried routes. Rivers ran unevenly, navigable in segments, hostile elsewhere. Grain traveled by cart where water failed. Timber clustered far from shipyards. Horses required pasture. Pasture shifted with rainfall. None of this required interpretation. These were facts on the ground, and they were unevenly distributed. The empire's borders wrapped around scarcity as much as abundance. Trade routes crossed this terrain, but they did not align. East-west caravans moved through Anatolia, but only where passes allowed. North-south movement encountered plateaus that resisted volume. Maritime trade concentrated wealth on coasts, while interiors remained thinly connected. The Ottoman heartland touched many routes without fully owning any. Control required repetition across distance. Distance resisted repetition. Ports along the Mediterranean faced outward, toward Venice, Genoa, Alexandria. Inland cities faced grain cycles and taxation rhythms. The Bosporus compressed movement but also exposed it. Every shipment converged, then diverged. Congestion was structural. Delay was structural. The geography did not reward speed. It rewarded patience and tolerated lag. As the empire expanded, this terrain did not scale. Each additional province increased surface area faster than connectivity. Roads multiplied in length, not in capacity. Couriers moved faster than wagons. Information outran supplies. Orders traveled farther than grain. The structure favored symbolic reach over material coherence. Silence settled between distances. A governor waited for instructions that arrived after conditions changed. A tax quota assumed yields that weather had already erased. A shipment departed intact and arrived partial. No error needed to occur. The gap itself was sufficient. Movement followed channels already carved. Armies marched where roads existed, not where strategy preferred. Supply trains hugged rivers even when routes lengthened. Garrisons clustered near fertile zones, leaving margins thin. Each choice repeated the same logic because alternatives were expensive in advance. Geography did not trap suddenly. It narrowed incrementally. The empire bridged continents, but bridges are narrow by definition. They concentrate traffic. They demand maintenance. They become points of stress. The Ottomans inherited bridges of land and water that invited movement and punished volume. Holding them required constant circulation. Circulation required predictability. Predictability was scarce. A pause appears here, not dramatic, just logistical. Grain harvested in the Danubian plains moved south slowly. Loss accumulated per mile. Storage required protection. Protection required manpower. Manpower required provisioning. Each link depended on the previous one arriving intact. Geography inserted attrition without confrontation. The Eastern Front stretched into highlands where winter closed passes unpredictably. Campaign seasons shortened, supply depots needed redundancy. Redundancy increased cost. Cost reduced frequency. Reduced frequency increased isolation. Isolation increased autonomy at the edges, not by intent, but by necessity. The southern provinces faced deserts, where water defined movement more strictly than authority. Caravans moved between wells, not between cities. Control existed at nodes, not across space. Between nodes lay absence. Absence absorbed effort without resistance. No decree could fill it. Over time, the empire's shape hardened into corridors and pockets. Wealth pooled near coasts. Grain fed capitals from specific regions repeatedly. Other regions became peripheral not by neglect, but by geometry. Distance multiplied faster than infrastructure. The Mediterranean world changed around this structure. Maritime routes increased capacity elsewhere. Ships grew larger. Ports deepened. Atlantic routes siphoned trade westward. The Ottoman geography did not change, but relative advantage did. Routes that once justified investment thinned. Overland trade declined in volume, but not in obligation. The empire still had to maintain routes that no longer paid proportionally. A subtle shift occurs. The cost of holding space overtakes the benefit of moving through it. Geography becomes maintenance-heavy. Roads require repair to preserve existing flows rather than to enable growth. Fortresses guard passes that see less traffic but cannot be abandoned without exposing interiors. The structure demands upkeep even as returns flatten. Distance also distorted time. Seasonal rhythms governed movement more than planning. Campaigns synchronized to harvests. Taxation synchronized to yields. Any disruption cascaded. A missed season meant waiting another year. Waiting was not neutral. It accumulated backlog, another quiet narrowing. Information density varied by region. Coastal cities received news faster. Inland regions lagged. Decision-making synchronized to the fastest nodes, not the slowest. Policies assumed coherence that geography undermined. Mismatch became normal. The empire did not face one frontier but many, each shaped differently. Managing them required local adaptation. Local adaptation increased variation. Variation increased coordination cost. Coordination cost increased reliance on existing routes. Existing routes reinforced geography's initial bias, a brief stillness. Consider the Bosporus again. It concentrated trade, taxation, and movement. It also concentrated vulnerability. Weather closed it. Congestion delayed it. Every delay rippled outward. Centrality amplified disruption. Geography offered a center that was also a bottleneck. As the empire aged, its spatial commitments remained fixed while the world's routes shifted. The Red Sea faced new competition. The Black Sea remained semi-enclosed. The Mediterranean lost primacy. The Ottoman map did not shrink, but its connective advantage thinned. Infrastructure investments followed necessity, not transformation. Roads repaired rather than reimagined. Canals proposed but constrained by terrain and capital. Railways arrived late and uneven, threading through valleys that already dictated flow. Steel followed geography's old lines. Each new layer respected the previous one. Constraints stacked. Choice appeared within channels already set. Attempts to centralize logistics confronted distance that could not be compressed cheaply. Geography taxed every solution up front. The fracture here is not collapse, but recognition. The structure becomes visible when options present themselves and fail to open space. The empire can see the bottlenecks. It cannot dissolve them. Should it invest heavily in inland connectivity that yields slow returns, or preserve coastal flows that serve shrinking trade? The question remains unresolved because the map does not answer it. Another silence. The terrain waits. Mountains do not negotiate. Deserts do not accelerate. Seas reward volume but punish congestion. The empire continues to circulate within this enclosure, maintaining coherence through repetition rather than expansion. Pressure does not release at the end. Geography remains intact, still channeling movement, still imposing delay. The Ottoman Empire persists within it, not defeated by choice, but bounded by structure that preceded every decision and outlasted each attempt to escape. If you found meaning here, you're welcome to explore more on Timeless Questions, where we examine history not for answers, but for understanding.